Ujian terbuka promosi doktor untuk Saudari Dora Angelina Aruan akan segera dimulai. Dekan Fakultas Pendidikan dan Bahasa, promotor, ko-promotor, dan para penguji akan memasuki ruangan. Hadirin dimohon berdiri. Sebelum acara ujian dimulai, Pastor Atmajaya akan memimpin doa. Romo Stefanus Hari Yudanto Projo, kami persilahkan.
Para ibu dan bapak, saudari dan saudara terkasih, sebelum kita melanjutkan untuk ujian promosi doktoral ini, mari kita bersatu dalam doa dan izinkan saya berdoa secara Katolik. Dalam nama Bapa dan Putra dan Roh Kudus, amin. Allah Bapa yang Maha Kasih, kami bersyukur atas berkat, kasih dan karunia-Mu untuk kami semua. Dengan rahmat kesehatan, Engkau mengumpulkan kami di tempat ini. Pada kesempatan hari yang istimewa ini, kami juga mohon berkat dan penyertaan-Mu untuk ujian terbuka, Doktor Program Linguistik Terapan, Fakultas Pendidikan dan Bahasa. Secara khusus kami berdoa memohon berkat-Mu untuk Ibu Dora Angelina Aruan. Semoga hasil disertasi ini juga senantiasa dapat membantu dalam mengembangkan misi pendidikan, dan juga kami mohon berkat-Mu untuk Ibu Dora agar senantiasa melalui ilmu apa yang beliau terapkan juga sungguh-sungguh dapat menjadi berkat bagi sesama. Kami juga berdoa untuk para penguji, promotor, ko-promotor, dan juga kami semua hadirin yang hari ini datang untuk mendukung bersama-sama di dalam doa. Semoga Engkau hadir bersama dengan kami, dan semoga hasil ini juga untuk kemuliaan nama-Mu demi Tuhan dan tanah air kami. Semua ini kami persembahkan ke dalam tangan-Mu, dengan pengantaran Yesus Kristus Tuhan dan pengantara kami. Amin. Dalam nama Bapa dan Putra dan Roh Kudus. Amin.
Hadirin yang kami muliakan, sidang ujian terbuka promosi doktor untuk Saudari Dora Angelina Aruan akan dibuka oleh Ketua Sidang, Dekan Fakultas Pendidikan dan Bahasa, Dr. Luciana M.Ed, kami persilahkan. Hadirin dipersilahkan duduk.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hereby officially open the public academic session for the promotion of the doctoral candidate in applied English linguistics, Ms. Dora Angelina Aruan. The examining board is composed of the dissertation advisor, Professor Bahren Umar Siregar, Ph.D. from Atmaja Catholic University of Indonesia, the co-advisor, Dr. Luciana M.Ed. from Atmaja Catholic University of Indonesia, and 3 other examiners, Ibu Sisilia Halimi, Ph.D. from the University of Indonesia, Professor Dr. Setiono Sugiharto from Atmaja Catholic University of Indonesia, and Dr. Engliana M.Hum from Atmaja Catholic University of Indonesia. Ms. Dora Angelina Aruan. can you come forward? Yeah, here, yeah, just over there is okay, yeah. So, as the Dean of Faculty of Education and Languages, I would like to ask you whether you are both physically and mentally prepared to defend your dissertation.
Yes, I am.
Thank you. Now I'm going to read Ms. Dora Angelina Aruan brief biodata. Ms. Dora Angelina Aruan earned her master's degree in applied English linguistics also from Atmajaya Catholic University of Indonesia. And then she has got a lot of experiences especially in national debating, and also has got some articles and books like Face-Threatening Acts, Conflict Between Principal Teachers and Students in EFL Classroom, presented in the Kolita, Managing the Foreign Language Classroom, Annotation from the presented paper at the First Taflin International Conference, and also the book about literacy in pharmacy. Ms. Dora has got vast experiences in debating, national debating, and also she has been involved in a lot of international experiences, also related to World University Debating Championship. Ladies and gentlemen, the exam will now start and will last for an hour. I would like to begin by asking Ms. Dora Angelina Aruan to present a summary of her findings entitled A Discourse Analysis of Argumentations in Parliamentary Debates, a Case of National Schools Debating Championship. Time is yours, Ms. Dora.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Board of Examiners, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present my work, A Discourse Analysis of Argumentations in Parliamentary Debates, a Case of National Schools Debating Championship. So we're going to start from the research gap, and why do I think this is very important? Previous studies have contributed to the line of research on argumentations in debates by identifying the problems of making arguments and rebuttals in academic debate. Unfortunately, they have not addressed the very process of constructing argumentations and rebuttals, particularly in competitive debates in the Indonesian debate circuit. So the limited scope of previous studies, which focus on the process of constructing arguments and rebuttals, which are actually the two key fundamentals in debates, specifically in the context of academic debates. So the study was conducted based on two areas of gap. The first one, the process of constructing arguments and the process of constructing rebuttals in the debates, especially in the context of academic debates. So the objectives hope to serve to extend the existing research on argumentation structure by utilizing discourse analysis and argumentative theories to capture the process of constructing the argumentation. And it is to develop an understanding of how the Indonesian secondary school debaters construct the argumentation and to explain the effectiveness of the students' engagement in the competitive debates, especially in the refutation marked by rebuttal. So where do we go? All of this leads us to three research questions. First one, how did the students construct their argumentations during competitive debate? What strategies were adopted to construct the argumentation during a parliamentary system competitive debate? These two are actually intertwined to give a descriptions of how all of the points developed into a complete argumentation. So how were the quality of the oral arguments produced at the end will be the final work. Therefore, there are at least four underlying theories involved here. The first one is the Tolman's elements of arguments, which are actually very popular for scrutinizing the elements of arguments. These are the tools to look at the skeleton of the argumentations in order to see whether all of the elements are present at the arguments. However, when we looked at all of the elements, it does not clearly see how it develops from step 1 to step 2, and at the end, how the students are going to make their maximum strength to make it persuasive argumentation. So we also need Walton's sequences of argumentative dialogues to show as a background that in all argumentative dialogue, they're always the opening, the argumentation stage, and the closing stage. So the skeleton as a snapshot, we're going to see the dynamic of it using the background of Walton's sequences of argumentative dialogue. And from there, we're also going to use another tools, Clark and Sampson discourse move. They study a written online debate dissected based on Tolman's model and then code each comments. So basically we find a similar underlying theories here, Tolman's. However, since Clark and Sampson's work focusing on a written online debate, which is not suitable for this competitive debate, there needs to be an adjustment here, and I think this is where this study gives a contribution. So the study adds 4 more moves here, and they're specifically characterized by the parliamentary debate. They're points of information, signposting, opening, and closing. So instead of having 11 discourse moves, we come up with 15 discourse moves, and they're ready to use for the analysis. And last but not least, we're going to not only see the process, but at the end also would like to see the quality, especially rebuttal, not only the argument, because argument and rebuttal cannot be separated in debate. So the overall quality of the argumentation takes place within a speech using hierarchy based on opposition adopted by Clark and Sampson 2008 are going to be used. They're going to show the 5 different levels, starting from the level 0, the non-oppositional, up to level 5, when the speakers are able to produce multiple rebuttals and not only attacking the claim, but also the grounds for the claim. This is just to illustrate how we're going to look at the speeches in the debate. So throughout the debate, there are 8 different speakers, so we're going to have 8 different speeches. And we're going to have 3 debates under investigation. So let's start with the data analysis here. In order to answer the first research questions, we're going to see how the students construct their argumentation during competitive debate by counting the number of the argument to make sure that there's no arguments left behind based on the topic, and then characterize the 6 elements of the arguments. But then the work is not finished yet, because we're going to look whether there are any specific patterns of constructions. And so we come to 3 different levels derived from Tolman, stating that at least a claim cannot stand on its own, so it has to be supported by ground. So level 1, this is the weak version. We don't say the good or bad, we say weak version, comprised of claims and grounds, and then go above it, level 2 is the basic, and level 3 is the strong one. And since we're going to do apply the same analysis to rebuttal. And then now we're going to continue, again, to see the dynamic, to see the development of the argumentation. We're going to see how were these elements strategized to create argumentative responses in the community, in the competitive debate. We're going to identify the utilization of discourse move. We're going to count the occurrences in order to see the trends, whether they are favored discourse moved, particularly chosen by the speakers, and then analyze the distribution of the discourse moves, whether they are particularly moving towards the opening or the argumentation or the closing stages. And last but not least, we're going to see, now we have a complete analysis of the arguments and also the rebuttal. We're going to see the quality of the oral arguments produced by the Indonesian secondary school, especially from the opposition stand. And we're going to analyze the number of arguments produced and refutation established by the speakers, and analyze the numbers of the arguments utilizing rebuttals in each speaker's roles based on Clark and Sampson hierarchical argumentation quality. And so here comes the findings. The results for the first research questions, how do students construct their argumentation during competitive debate? show that there are 180 argumentation altogether, and the highest occurrences, the highest number of patterns fall into the second level, which is the basic, followed by the strong, and unfortunately we still have the weak level 1, even though this is already in the national round. All of the debates are taken from the octofinal rounds, which means the debaters are not coming from the novice level. They have already got some knowledge in terms of how to debate, and hopefully they're going to have more progress towards the elimination round. So this was the starting step to get the picture. This is the map. So to try to find all the arguments and the elements inside the arguments. And then we're going to identify whether they have accommodate all of the required elements. And as we can see here, terribly sorry that probably the color is not very clear, but this is an example where all of the elements present in the argumentation. So the claim supported by 2 grounds here, and then there's a warrant that explains the relationship between the ground and the claim, and then also supported by backing as an additional information to show the cogency, how certain, how possible or plausible the audience will accept the view. And at the same time, they also have a preemptive rebuttal in order to not just defend their view, but also able to attack the opposing view. So I'm going to show you, this is the extract in order to provide the ground for the discourse analysis, like for example, how the first speaker, in order to open up the opening stage by presenting the background and showing the urgency towards the claim by saying, we say that we need showing that there's an urgency due to the detrimental situation because of the combating terrorism. And this is an example of a case based on the motion, this House believes that the United States should end its no negotiation with terrorist policy. So I'm just going to show you the other maps that comes up. And the reason why Tolman was chosen is because most of the handbooks for debaters, like Quinn's, Meany and Shuster's, and also Johnson's, they tend to be very simplified. Like, for example, Johnson only referred to claim and support. So anything other than the claim will be referred to as support. And also Quinn's using labeling the topic, explanation, giving examples, and tie back or linking back to the first idea. And also Meany and Shuster using assertion, reasoning, evidences. So it can be anticipated that the students might not be really deep into analyzing what they're going to construct at the very beginning because it tends to be too general. So this is the example of the other map. We can see that most of the maps are quite good due to the construction. They're not just loose, like this is the weak one. I'm going to show you. This is the example of the weak one where there's only a claim supported by the ground, and this can be toppled down by the opponents very easily. So now what do we have here? So all of the debaters had the knowledge of how to construct the strong argument. However, their skills were varied. And the data showed that in general, students' arguments and rebuttals fall into the second type, which is considered as a basic construction, according to all of the prominent scholars that I've mentioned. And as I said before, apart from the argument, we're going to also take a look at the rebuttal, and we're going to do exactly the same. And we come up with, out of the 180 arguments, there are 79 rebuttals, in which 43 falls into the strong construction, another 43% fall into the basic. Unfortunately, there's still another 14% of the rebuttals that are considered in a weak construction. And so we would like to see how they're going to use the strategy that makes them come to that certain level. So it turns out that out of the 15 discourse move, 4 that actually gain the most frequency. They are claim, clarification in response to a rebuttal, clarification of meaning, and signposting. Another interesting thing, and I think I made this because I said how important rebuttal is, because when I look at the rebuttal against ground and against claim, and also the counterclaim, they are far, far below than the total amount of arguments. So it seems that at the superficial level, the student know how to conduct a refutation. However, in retrospect, the qualitative analysis discussed earlier did not reveal the weight of the implication of the rebuttals. In other words, it explained why the number of occurrences does not automatically follow a linear relationship with the quality. And the answer for research question number 3. So how are the quality of the oral argumentation, how are the quality of the oral arguments produced by the Indonesian secondary school? When we have looked at every speakers and all the teams, we come up that the debaters' quality of argumentation based on opposition could be said that almost all the debaters were considered to be in the highest level of quality, except 2 debaters who categorized between level 3 and 4, meaning where the others tend to be able to produce multiple rebuttals that attacking the ground that support a claim, these 2 debaters only produce single rebuttal. So we come up with the key findings here. The study aimed at investigating how the students construct the arguments, what strategies they use, and how is the quality of the produced arguments based on your opposition. While contributing to similar findings in the previous problem found by Astuti, Hasibuan, and also Supardi and Sayogi, the current study also revealed that almost all of the participants had the knowledge how to construct a solid argumentation employing all the 6 elements. However, I think this is what makes it as a deeper investigation. The construction of students will predominantly fall on level 2, which is claimed to be just the basic skill according to Mini Schuster, Freely, Steinberg, Johnson, and also Quinn. So as far as refutation and rebuttals were concerned, they were there in the argumentation. However, they were not presented in line with the recommended protocol. The effectivity of the refutation and rebuttals could be improved. For example, like the process of refutation, according to Freely and Steinberg, the rebuttal launched by the students fell away from the ground, either due to the relevance, the inconsistency of the issue, and they were not incorporated into the case that makes them as a less independent. So this could be used as note for making the skill of rebutting as priority in the model for developing the students' oral argumentative skills. Therefore, rebutting becomes an ultimate skill in debate as a compulsory in developing the students' argumentative skills, according to Swanwick, Erskine, and DeCrest. From all of the findings, the debaters' quality of argumentation based on opposition could be said that almost all debaters were considered to be in the highest level, except there are 2 debaters that were still categorized between level 3 and 4. The study found that students knew most of the discourse moved to make their arguments persuasive, even though the ability to employ them differed in quality. The study also revealed that almost all except 2, I think I've already explained that before, Toby, sorry, maybe I doubled that. And so we come to the conclusion. In the conclusion, the findings gave a general picture of how the students developed their argumentation, the strengths, the weaknesses in defending their view and challenging their opponent's view. Unlike the previous studies conducted upon the oral argumentative skills of Indonesian English language learners, that collecting snapshots of their shortcoming argumentative skills, such as limited vocabularies, difficulties in recognizing counter-arguments, which also true, setting up limitation, making rebuttal, and constructing argument, this study adds a little bit more deeper by analyzing how such problems occurred and developed at the first place. So hopefully students could increase their quality of their argumentation by analyzing their argument's construction because they know the path. They also could increase the effectivity of the arguments and rebuttals by analyzing the distribution of their discourse move and maximizing their usage based on the substantive of the moves. So what is the theoretical and practical implications of the study? In terms of the study's theoretical implication, the research findings added 4 discourse moves to the ones that Clark and Sampson had first suggested. This contribution would help similar investigation, especially related to competitive debate with the parliamentary system. And research has shown that engaging in academic debate activities, such as classroom and competitive debate, equips students with more robust abilities, including communication, critical thinking, and information literacy. Regretfully, its rise to popularity has been somewhat gradual. Teachers may face difficulty in developing this crucial ability due to a lack of training opportunities and limited resources available in Indonesia. The study should hopefully inspire all related stakeholders interested in proliferating debate proficiency among Indonesian students to carry out the further research. And I think we have come to the end of the presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Dora Angelina Aruan. Ladies and gentlemen, each of the 5 examiners will ask questions. I have the honor to invite Ibu Sisilia Halimi, Ph.D., as our excellent examiner to pose the first questions. Time is yours, Ibu.
Okay. Well, thank you, Ibu Lucy. Well, first of all, Dora, I would like to congratulate you for reaching the final stage of your doctoral study. So I have 3 questions for you. And the first one is related to the research gap. Yeah. You mentioned that the previous studies have not addressed the very process of constructing argumentation and rebuttals. What does the very process of constructing argumentation and rebuttals mean? Because I think it is not explained clearly in your dissertation.
Thank you very much, Ibu. So based on the previous studies that I found, I think they are very diligent in listing down the problems that borne by the debaters, the students, and especially since quite a lot of the research conducted inside the classroom, or let's say in the debate school activities, and even also same in the NSDC level. However, they just come up with the problems that appear, but not really stating what becomes the real problem that cause those limitations.
So you meant they didn't discuss the causes of the problem?
They didn't, yes.
But
that's right,
in
Ibu.
your dissertation, you tried to find out the causes.
Yes, that's right, Ibu. I tried to show the dynamics starting from how they make every element, and then starting from the opening, the argumentation stage, up to the closing stage.
Okay, and then the next question, I think there was information that did not really compatible one to another. Yeah, in the first part in your presentation, you mentioned that the level of your of the debaters that you studied was still at level 2. But then in the other part, you mentioned that except for 2 debaters, the others have already reached levels 3 and 4. So which one of this information is actually correct?
Okay, yeah, thank you. So at the beginning, I said that we're going to focus on 2 key issues in debate. That is the arguments and also rebuttals. So the level 2 falls on the arguments. That means the students are able to make an argument with the minimum requirement. However, it's not necessarily to infuse rebuttal within the argumentations. So when we look at the number of the arguments produced by the debaters, they have high number of arguments. Unfortunately, when it comes to rebuttals, not very many, but in terms of the quality of the rebuttals they made, they were considered as a good quality.
So which one has already reached level 3 and 4, and which one is still at level 2?
Because the hierarchical level proposed by Clark M. Sampson goes to the individual quality. We go from one debaters until to the last of debaters. So when we have 18 debaters, only 2 that fall into category 3 and 4 in terms of producing the quality rebuttals.
Didn't you say except 2, that the others have already reached level 3 and 4 in your dissertation?
Oh, sorry. I thought it's supposed to be only 2 that fall into 3 and 4, while the others reach 5.
Okay, so maybe you have to check again.
Maybe I have to check again.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Ibu.
Okay, okay. And then next, you also mentioned that your study was meant to offer deeper insight into understanding and finding solution to major challenges encountered by Indonesian students in developing their argumentative and rebuttal capacities. However, until the conclusion part, I did not find any concrete solution that you offered based on the finding of your study. Could you please elaborate on the solution and strategies that you offered based on the findings of your study?
Okay, well, thank you very much for the questions. So in terms of analyzing their own construction, so far what the students believe, an argument consists of what is called the assertion, reasoning, and also elaboration or examples. And then, as I said, we did not have very many references. But from the study, I found out that actually quite a lot of handbooks use Mini and Schusters who propose the assertion, reasoning, and also example or elaboration. And the other 2, Johnson, used an even simpler terminologies, only claim and support, that identify other things apart from the claim. And the other one, Quinn's use the term label, not specifically claim, but also just referring to the topics, and then followed by the explanation, and also the reasoning, and the tie back, like trying to make sure that what is related and was being proposed can be accepted by the audiences. So Toolmin, hopefully, if we're going to introduce Toolmin to the students, students know that there are actually 6 different elements that can be used to cultivate the points or the ideas in order to make a more stronger construction as the house or the building blocks of the argumentation, instead of just 3 or 4 or even 2 like what proposed by Johnson.
Okay, and what have been trained to the students so far in Indonesia?
We often use the terminology AREL, assertion, reasoning, elaboration, and linking back. There is no reference used for that, but I think whoever proposed that or make it popular, trying to combine Mini and Schuster, who propose assertion, reasoning, and also elaboration, with Quinn, who proposed label, which is in a lesser quality than assertion, label, explanation, reasoning, and tie back. So they take the tie back and then put it under the are becomes arrow, and that's it.
Okay, well, you should put that in the conclusion of your dissertation,
Oh, okay.
because that's
Thank
the
you very
part
much.
which is missing, Dora. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
thank you very much, Ibu,
Yeah.
for
Okay, well,
sharpening
that's all, Ibu
the
Lucy. Thank you.
ideas.
Thank you, Ibu Cecile. Would Professor Dr. Setiono Sugiharto, the second examiner, now pose your questions? Time is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Luciana. Ibu Dora, congratulations. Finally,
Thank you, Professor.
you now can reach this doctoral public defense.
Thank you, Professor.
Ibu Dora, I have 2 questions. The first is, related to your finding here, which claims that the students have not known how to infuse most of the discourse moves proposed by Clark and Simpson
Yeah,
to make their arguments persuasive.
yes.
My question is, are there any discourse moves from your data which do not conform to the model proposed by Clark and Simpson? Because I suspect here that the tendency of our researcher is that they always conform to the model that they adopt, okay? And if they found in their data the moves, for instance, which do not conform to the proposed model, are considered irrelevant or insignificant. Could you please explain to us?
Thank you very much, Professor Setiono. I think this is a very good critic for my work, because actually in my findings, I do have one move. It's called the change claim. And it turns out with zero findings, because in the debate, you do not change your claim. You have to defend it, and you have to attack your opponent in order to assure the judges that actually the way of your argument is much better and stronger. So, as I said again, I think this is a very good critic. I think I should take it out because it is not suitable. And apart from this, just adding up another 4 moves, which are very highly characterize the parliamentary debate context, I think I have to make another explanation and then probably taking it out rather than misleading the others.
If you want to assess, if you want to appraise Clark and Simpson's and Tolman's model, how would you assess them? Are there any weaknesses based on your evaluations of this model related to the data?
I do remember once I had a discussion with you, and I think it really sparks my interest. However, due to a quite laborious process, I didn't have enough time to dig deeper. I do agree that whatever recipe given in developing and delivering your argumentation cannot be generalized, especially since the way of people think and argue, it is very cultural based and contextual bound. So, for example, I don't know whether we have started a talk with the students saying that this debate is actually derived and then it brought up in a very Western argumentation construction. Like, for example, they believe in liberty and freedom to give whatever ground that they have and pursue whatever they believe to reveal the truth. While we come from a culture, like the Eastern culture, who do believe in living in harmony is much better rather than just pursuing and fulfilling your sense of freedom. So based on that, I think it's going to be a much more interesting if we have already got the data first and then go deeper into that discussion, Professor. But I do agree with you.
The second question, you also claim that refutations and rebuttal are specific issues that needed more attention. But I do not find any explanations related to this. What do you mean by specific issues that needed more attention? Are there any cultural specific issues that you want to explain in this regard?
Yes, thank you, Professor. Towards the end of my work, I come across that actually a lot more interesting discussion can come towards that direction, especially when I've already read some books like the Epistemology of the South, and also how the mapping thoughts of the Asian somehow, the Eastern differ from the Western, like the way how direct we present our ideas, especially when it comes to a certain topics, might be really different from those than in the West. So I think, I don't know, Professor, maybe I also need to consult with my promoter and co-promoter whether I have to include that into my discussion.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Ibu Dora, no further questions? Dr. Luciana, thank you.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, Professor Setiono Sugiharto. I now invite the third examiner, Dr. Engliana M.Hum, to ask questions. Time is yours, Ibu.
Okay, thank you, Lucy. Okay, congratulations, Bu Dora.
Thank you.
Again, I would like to say that to you today. Right. I do have 2 questions for you. Okay, I'm interested in your writing about how you map the process and how these students, you train them, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
No, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
no?
I don't train them.
Okay.
I've just been involved in the activities, but not a
Okay.
trainer.
But you do know the process that
Yes.
they have been through
Yes, that's right.
throughout the training. Let's
Yeah,
say a
yeah.
training. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So I'm interested in your writing, especially when you say something about cultures, previously mentioned by Prof. Setiono earlier, about when you talk about debate, it's more likely the backbone is on the Western culture, correct?
Yes.
So can you probably tell us from your data, on the basis of your data, how these students actually encounter those problems, and how those factors actually, aside from culture and probably also background of these students, will affect the way they construct, let's say, strong arguments or weak arguments?
Thank you very much. I do agree this is a very interesting question, but pardon me to say, I'm very sorry that maybe my work is very limited to this. So maybe I'm focusing more on looking at the how the students strategize their elements of arguments rather than trying to find the reason behind it. So I think it's going to, my answer will be based on assumption.
Okay.
Like for example, I found some data when we talked about feminism. I know that for some certain culture, feminism is not something that can freely embraced. So when it comes to the motion of feminism, like in the third videos, I see that the speaker, the students, try to make an argument by stating a claim and then ground it as a certain reason, but did not continue to give a further explanation. And I think the reason of that is because maybe the idea of feminism is not openly discussed within that certain culture, like the idea of marriage, the idea of whether it is okay to become a single mom just to pursue your own happiness or, let's say, profession, let's say. So that's just a small example that I think, based on my assumption, why certain topic can influence the way you deliver and also develop your argumentation.
Okay, so based on your data, do you think that the strategies they adopt in order for them to build strong rebuttals, for example, were actually successful?
I would say not really. I mean, at the superficial level, it seems like they know that there are strategies. But like when to use it and how to use it, I don't think they go that deeper.
Okay. So in your conclusion, you suggest that you are going to improve that part of strategies?
Yes, that's right. That's
Okay.
right. That's the part that the teachers maybe can help the students to focusing more on use which specific strategies. For example, in Sampson and Clark, the arrangement of the discourse move has been made based on the importance or the essentials. So the more substantive the moves, they're going to put it at the top. And now it turns out that part like rebuttals against the ground, rebuttals against the claim, it was not given enough attention, so the students did not really make use of it. But things like signposting, which is just like, giving signals about what you're going to talk about, how many points that you're going to deliver, gain a very high, I think that's quite common in, I would say in probably in Asian culture, I think. Maybe. That's for an example.
Okay.
Hopefully I answer your question.
Yeah. So hypothetically speaking, so do you think that your work here and your study, you've been studying a lot about these data and strategies and discourse move.
Yeah.
So do you think in practice, in classroom training for these candidates, students candidate, do you think that teachers or trainers should be able to build a kind of framework specific for Indonesian students for them to be prepared for debate?
Yes, that's what I hope for.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So do you have in mind what is the design going to be?
It's kind of hard to say because I always believe that the good learning should not just come from top to the bottom, but it's also have to come from bottom and up. So what I'm trying to say is maybe before I'm going to decide, I'm going to work closer into this debating community and involve students, because this work is just a secondary data source. So if we're going to directly involve the students themselves, I think it's going to be a lot better, and by then maybe I can give the right recipe.
Okay. Okay, hopefully you can state this
Thank you.
right in your conclusion.
Thank you very much, Ibu,
Chapters.
for all the input.
Thank you. I have no more question. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ibu Engliana. If Professor Bahren Umar Siregar, the dissertation advisor, would ask any questions, please do so.
Thank you, Bu Lucy. Dora, how do you feel now?
It's hard to describe, Professor.
Oh, okay. Don't say anything.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm interested in the implications of your study. Maybe it's a little bit related to what Dr. Engliana mentioned earlier. You said here that developing the students' oral argumentative skill would involve a lot of aspects.
I agree.
Now, I would like you to give a little bit elaboration about what you mean by a lot of aspects. Are these all aspects about pedagogical aspects or something else?
Thank you very much, Professor. First of all, I would like to say thank you how you inspire me to go into this topic, because I just realized oftentimes we just take everything for granted. Like, for example, the discussion that I have with Professor Setiono, with you and also Ibu Lucy, and inputs from the other examiners, I don't think we give enough room for example, culture, that's number one. Number two, when we're trying to balance between the sensitive topics to discuss, we tend to just look at what is being modeled by the good debaters we can find in, let's say, in YouTube, also when during the international championship, or just try to follow and imitate, rather than trying to have a talk and see their understanding and look at their own potentials and strength, and be able to understand that maybe they also have some kind of discomfort, like for example, closed topics to religion, or let's say the minorities group. This kind of thing should be based also from the understanding that you don't really have to agree with what people say just because you believe, or you don't agree because you don't believe. But much more than that, the debate talks about how you think. And I think this kind of thing, in terms of learning, cannot just imitate, like what I said before, or just follow the rules, because communication is dynamic. Like what Gray says, is also have to pay attention to the formality, to politeness. And I think one of the weaknesses in competitive debate, we do not really pay attention to that. Although for quite a lot of people who have been involved in this debate for quite a long time, do concern about it. But I think for the new debaters who struggle to find the right coach or the right teachers who can help them to learn, they're just going to find their own materials through YouTube's professors. And so I think that is why when we are going to make a program for the teachers to help the students, they have to start it from the right starting point. That is to understand that there might be differences in the way we say things and the say we show our disagreement, and why in this case we might feel discomfort about it. But in terms of joining these activities or competitive debate, there are rules that we have to go along, and hopefully by knowing these differences, they also know how to anticipate that. Hopefully I answer your questions.
Thank you, Dora. No further question, Bu Lucy.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, Professor Bahren. So let me also congratulate you for reaching this stage and allow me to ask you as the co-advisor. I can't help but, what is that? Yeah, questioning your findings. I mean, your findings are interesting, but I still have one question that I need to learn from you. From question number 1 and number 3, you're claiming that the argumentations fell into the category of 2, the majority.
Yeah.
It means in terms of argumentation construction, the debaters have not reached the desired level.
Yes, the strong one. Level
The strong one, in terms of constructing argumentation.
Yes.
Yet, when it comes to
Rebuttal.
the quality, that's actually a continuing Ibu Cecil question. The quality, you found that most met the criteria, the top one. It means level 5, right? Only 3 and 4.
Okay.
Is that right?
I think I have to clarify this.
Uh-huh.
So the quality of argumentation based on opposition. So the quality of their rebuttals. I think the terminology that Clark and Sampson used was not easily to follow. So the level is given to the students' ability to make rebuttals.
Yep, and that is individual rebuttal.
Right.
Right?
Right.
That's clear to me. But
Okay.
I still have one question that I think I need to quench my thirst for the knowledge of debating. How could it be that in terms of building the argumentation, they can meet the criteria, they fell into the basic level. You claim it as the basic level.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the ability to give counter-argument, they came to the highest level, even though that is individual. My question is not to question in the sense that I have some doubts upon your results, no. But I want to get the whole picture, because you are the expert in the debating.
Yeah.
What does it mean when in terms of the argumentation construction, they were considered basic, but when it comes to the individual participation or roles, they can reach the criteria of giving counter-arguments. That's two areas that I cannot synergize in my mind.
I understand, Ibu.
Are you saying that Indonesian students are only good at producing the number of argumentation but no quality?
Hardly to say, because I think I have to come with a more explanation. But in terms of why seems like their quality of rebuttal or refutation is good, because Clark and Sampson is so far the only criteria that I met. So if I would like to make a critics, I think I have to do that critics, because the criteria is, I would say, too easy. Only be able to create multiple rebuttals, more than one, which I think in a debate, you are expected to produce. The more you can attack and defend your views is better. Today's discussion really enlightened me, Ibu. Why? Because Clark and Sampson derived from the debate that happened in the online forum.
Okay.
While it's not going to be at that close engagement, that's
Right.
aggressiveness, the level is totally different.
Right, right.
I think that's also a critic to my work. So
Yeah.
maybe I also have to write it down as an input, maybe.
Exactly.
Okay,
I think
thank you.
that picture that you are to create based on your findings, because we can read the data clearly from you, but what we need from you is how do you portray all your results and then it becoming crystal clear.
Yeah.
It's not mosaic. It is mosaic, but we
Yeah.
need to get the picture that if that is the case,
I
so what do
agree.
you want to say about this case?
I agree.
Are you going to say that our students still basic and they need this even though the number of the rebuttals reach the level 5?
Yeah.
So what does it mean? In terms of the number, it's clear, but in terms of the interpretation, I think Dora can make us learn more from
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Okay? And the last question, based on your study, what kind of debating model that, it's already asked, but I'm just wondering, because you say, would it be possible to say this is Indonesian way, to stand on our feet? In the sense that when it comes debating, we already talk about it, quite seriously, in the sense that we always obey, and under the, the model of Western.
Yeah.
So if we do not follow the Western rhetoric, does it mean that we Indonesian
Yeah.
are not able to debate sharply? That's the one that we need to know based on your pictures.
I try to answer this question. First of all, this work particularly talked about national schools debating championships. So number one, it is a competitive debate. So it is just a part of academic debates. Academic debates might have opened up more rooms. Like, for example, another approach for argumentation is Rogerian, Rogerian talks about, apart from the proposition, the affirmatives, they're trying to propose views, and also the opposition that try to negate, there is the third. They're trying to get the best out of the affirmative and also from the opposition. They call the neutral part.
I see.
If that goes to the academic debate, it can be used. It can be used, for example, the policy debate can be used in the classroom debate activities. But when it comes to competitive debates, Rogerian is not being considered.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Dora, it's also enlightening to me. So I think you can think of all this, all our questions to enrich your interpretation. Because that's going to be actually, you were just saying, you just told us that's the limitation of
Yeah.
the model that you are adopting
Yeah.
to some degree and based on the data.
Yes, yes.
Because you're the expert, you can do much better than we can think of.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dora.
Thank you, Ibu.
Ms. Dora Angelina Aruan, the examination is now over. This open academic session to examine our doctoral candidate is finished. Permit us now to have a short intermission to assess the examination results of Ms. Dora Angelina Aruan.
Thank you.
Hadirin yang terhormat, para penguji, promotor, ko-promotor, dan ketua sidang akan meninggalkan ruangan selama 20 menit. Hadirin kami mohon berdiri. Kembali ke ruang sidang promosi. Hadirin dimohon berdiri. Hadirin dimohon duduk kembali. Promovendus Saudari Dora Angelina Aruan, kami persilahkan maju untuk menghadap dekan.
Having heard the examination board's assessment deliberation of your ratings in your public defense, the total credits earned during your study, and the duration of your doctoral studies at this university, I hereby announce that you, Mrs. Dora Angelina Aruan, have passed the examination very satisfactorily. I now invite Professor Bahren Umar Siregar, Ph.D., the dissertation advisor, to confer the doctor's degree on Ms. Dora Angelina Aruan and thereupon deliver his laudatory address.
with the power invested in me as your dissertation advisor, I hereby pronounce you Doctor of Linguistics with all the rights and honors pertaining thereto according to the extant academic traditions. In evidence of your promotion, I present you with the doctor's diploma, which you have obtained with great diligence. I wish you great success in your future career. I now want to make a few personal observations about your work so far. Dissertation Defense Examination Committee, Board of Examiners, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Dora Angelina Aruan. First of all, my fellow co-promoter, Ibu Dr. Luciana, M.Ed, and I would like to congratulate you for having successfully presented your dissertation to the Dissertation Defense Examination Committee today, and for having also been awarded the degree of Doctor of Linguistics. I would also like to extend our congratulations to your family, friends, and colleagues who all come here with all of us today to witness this once-in-a-lifetime experience, the public academic session for the promotion of your doctoral candidate in applied English linguistics. Let me now switch to Bahasa Indonesia. Pada saat ini bersama kita hadir juga keluarga besar Dr. Dora Angelina Aruan. Izinkan saya, promotor dan co-promotor Ibu Dr. Luciana M.Ed, menyampaikan ucapan selamat kepada seluruh anggota keluarga yang hadir. Bapak Daniel Marhusari Siagian, suami Dr. Dora Angelina Aruan, Jonggi Jonathan Andrew Siagian, putra sulung, Josephine Christabel Rotua Siagian, putra bungsu, kemudian Bapak Insinyur Roysan Aruan, MBA, abang, yang juga mewakili ayah Dr. Angelina Aruan, yaitu Bapak Insinyur Oka Aruan, karena dalam kondisi sakit tak dapat hadir bersama kita pada kesempatan ini. Hadir juga Bapak Dr. Ph.D. Rosen Aruan, M.Em, M.Sc.T, abang Dr. Dora, Bapak Sandi Hoffman Aruan, Eskom, M.Bet, adik Dr. Dora, Ibu Gloria Siagian, MC, psikolog, adik ipar Ibu Dr. Dora Angelina Aruan. Tentu saja hadir juga bersama kita pada hari yang berbahagia ini, anggota keluarga besar Fakultas Pendidikan dan Bahasa Unika Atmajaya, memberikan dukungan dan doa kepada Dr. Dora Angelina Aruan. Kami mengucapkan selamat atas keberhasilan Dr. Dora Angelina Aruan, dosen program studi pendidikan bahasa Inggris Universitas Katolik Indonesia Atmajaya, yang baru saja berhasil menyelesaikan studi doktornya pada program studi Doktor Linguistik Terapan Bahasa Inggris Unika Atmajaya dan menjadi doktor ke-55 lulusan program studi Doktor Linguistik Terapan Bahasa Inggris. Now, let me now continue my laudatory speech. It is a privilege and a great pleasure to extend my laudatory speech in honor of Dr. Dora Angelina Aruan, who has just been awarded the highest academic degree, Doctor of Linguistics, by the Dissertation Defense Examination Committee here today. Dr. Dora Angelina Aruan is the 55th doctor graduated from the Applied English Linguistics program at Atmajaya Catholic University of Indonesia. Dr. Dora's dissertation was about a discourse analytical perspectives on argumentations in parliamentary debates by taking a case from Indonesian National Schools Debating Championship. The objectives of the study were to delineate how the Indonesian secondary school debaters construct their argumentations during national competitive debates. It also sought to explain the effectiveness of the students' engagement in the competitive debates, especially in the refutation marked by the exchange of rebuttals between the proposition and opposition teams. The first result of her study was most of the arguments were structured in terms of 5 elements of argumentation, such as claim, ground, warrant, backing, and rebuttal. The second result was far more interesting, as there were still many arguments constructed from the minimum required elements, that is, the basic 3 elements, using only claim, ground, and warrant. According to Toulmin, Walton, and Johnson, the arguments with the 3 elements are equivalent to S basic argumentation scale. However, the most important distinctive feature that the study had so far was the students were able to infuse most of the discourse move to their arguments more persuasively. However, the students still have problem with a few of the most substantive moves, such as counterclaim, rebuttal, and signposting. This finding was also confirmed the previous studies, which highlighted the duty of each speaker was to defend own case against rebuttal by a previous speaker. My reading of Dr. Dora's dissertation made me aware about what I call the side result of her study. I had a kind of interesting preliminary findings that the debate teams seem to belong to the same discourse community. A discourse community can be defined as a group of communicators with a common goal or interest that adopts certain preferred ways of participating in public discussion. These preferred ways of discussion are called discursive practices. Generally, these discursive practices involve various genres, such as academic papers, books, lectures, in this case, in the case of your study, debates, TV and television and radio programming. It requires the mastery of certain spatial terminology or jargon. Generally, membership in a discourse community requires a certain level of expertise in the common goal. I hope you could also explore this side result later on and publish an article about it. Dear Dr. Dora Angelina Aruan, before concluding this laudation, let me now extend to the audience my short observations about your doctoral journey at Atmajaya. You first joined my class, one of the 3 courseworks in the first semester in August 2017. Before that, you have a very extensive experience at international, regional, and local levels in participating in debating championship. From 2010 up to 2019, you've been one of the advisors, adjudicators in 8 international World Universities Debating Championship in Cape Town, South Africa, The Hague, Netherlands, Thessaloniki, Greece, Chennai, India, Berlin, Germany, Manila, the Philippines, Gaborone, Botswana, Antalya, Turkey. You have also a list of national experiences either as advisor or co-convener, adjudicator, and so on. From 2009 up to 2023. Learning that your father had a health condition with a significant impact on his daily life, often requiring medical attention, ongoing treatment, or hospitalization, you needed to stay close to your father in case he required immediate attention. Your love to the family, especially to your father, made you think that it is important for your father facing this condition not only to seek appropriate medical care, but also importantly to access support from the family to help manage the physical and emotional challenges associated with his illness. However, with the strong support from your family, your beloved husband and children, your brothers, and the rest, by the way, you are the only princess in the family, right? The rest are brothers. Your brothers and the rest of the extended family members, with the continuous encouragement and prayers, not only from the family, but also from your friends, colleagues, and others around you, with various ups and downs in the journey of your doctoral study, you finally reach this stage. Jimmy Dean once said, "I can't change the direction of the wind, but I can adjust my sails to always reach my destination." It means, while we may not always be able to control our circumstances, we can always control our response to them, to these circumstances. Try the best and let God do the rest. As I said earlier, Dr. Dora Angelina Aruan, you have successfully made it through all of these challenging times. Now it is time to identify and confront the challenges in the near future as well as in the long term. Today, you are now a doctor in applied linguistics. I believe you are now ready to continue another episode of your life journey to reach your ultimate goals. Keep on the track and you will end up where you want to be. Now, with all members of the dissertation committee and my colleagues in the program, my fellow co-promoter and I offer you again, your family, your colleagues who witnessed your success here today, our very warmest congratulations and heartfelt wishes for the continuation of your career. Thank you.
Dr. Dora Angelina Aruan. Let me also offer, on behalf of the examiners, our heartfelt congratulations with your academic achievement. I now invite you to say a few words to the assembly.
Thank you very much for the Honorable Board of Directors. And to everybody's here, praise to the Lord Almighty for His constant love and steadfast love for me. The last year has led me down an enriching and often challenging road that has ended with the finishing of my dissertation and the realization of one of my long-term dreams, earning my degree. I am very excited, but above all, I am very thankful and yet somewhat reflective to be at the conclusion of this particular journey, a very life-changing experience. I agree with Ibu Bernadette, my also best friends in the same boat here. For completing this dissertation would not have been possible without the support of so many people. First of all, I would like to thank both of my promoter, Professor Bahren Umar Siregar, Ph.D., and my co-promoter, Ibu Dr. Luciana, M.Ed., who have enculturated me into the world of academia. Without their guidance, assistance, and questioning, my work would not be what it is. Likewise, I must acknowledge the members of my dissertation committee, Ibu Halimi, Ph.D., thank you very much, Ibu. And also Ibu Christine Manara, Ph.D., Professor Dr. Setiono, Sugiharto, and Ibu Dr. Engliana, M.Hum, who have provided a lot of invaluable and constructive feedback, commitment to excellence, and encouragement this past year that made me learn a lot, and I am really blessed by it. I also would like to say thank you very much. Special shout out to Dr. Rahmat Nurcahyo, Master of Arts, as the coordinator of advisor team for the Indonesian University and High School debate in Pusat Prestasi Nasional, who are also, together with Pak Nyoman Rajin Ariana, SPD M.Hum, for enlightening with the discussion on debating and the community in Indonesia. And I also thank you very much for the support for the community that I have right now. I have Andre and also Hans to join me here, long way from Surabaya and also from Bandung. Without question, this research would not have been possible without my colleagues who are also my best friend in the English department. My head of the department, Ibu Tia and Ibu Indri, as the secretary of the department. Ibu Aniani, Ibu Rebecca, and special thanks for Ibu Awit, Ibu Eli, and Ibu Sari, who always send me the sunshine on my cloudy days, and to all of my family in the Faculty of Language and Education. I'm grateful to have my friends and colleagues, Ibu Bernadette, Ibu Dika, Ibu Nunung, Pak Jimmy, and Pak Alex, for we always supporting each other from the beginning of our academic journey. And finally, to my family and friends who have supported me in reaching my goal, I am internally indebted. This work was dedicated for my beloved father, Opung Batara Doli, who becomes the light and the beacon in my life. Even when he has been in his weakest condition in the past 2 years, his spirit never dies down. And I also would not going to let down by following whatever my promoter and co-promoter guide me along the way. And also for my beloved mother, who is my real hero. I believe he's already rest in peace in heaven. And also for my late parents-in-law, Apung Jonggi Doli Bagboru. Most notably, my husband Daniel, who has understood and without question supported my duty, and to my son, Jonggi and Abel. Just be who you are, have already made me a proud mother, and that's what keeps me going. To my brothers and sisters-in-law who always love me for who I am, thank you so much. I'm blessed to have you all as my family. And I thank you to so many others that have supported me, and I cannot mention personally one by one. May God bless you in everything you do. Thank you very much.
Hadirin yang kami muliakan, sidang ujian promosi telah selesai. Dekan, kami persilahkan untuk menutup acara sidang.
Ladies and gentlemen, This doctoral degree ceremony has come to an end, and I therefore declare the assembly closed.
Hadirin yang kami muliakan, dekan, para penguji, promotor dan ko-promotor akan foto bersama dan memberi ucapan selamat kepada Dr. Dora Angelina Aruan dan keluarga sebelum meninggalkan ruang sidang. Hadirin dimohon berdiri saat prosesi meninggalkan ruangan dan kemudian memberikan ucapan selamat kepada Dr. Dora Angelina Aruan dan keluarga.